So I woke up in my bed at Lancaster University, where I was studying abroad last semester, refreshed my phone, only to find that Donald Trump had won the previous presidential election in the United States. Initially, like many, I was shocked. How could a man who I had perceived as expressing so much bigotry, discrimination, even racism throughout the duration of his campaign, have garnered so much support and even respect from so many Americans? Why did history have a tendency to repeat itself? I was in the UK, where UKIP had just called for the Brexit referendum. Donald Trump in the US, and now we have Marine Le Pen of the National Front in France, threatening to win the election there. What has caused this wave of populist nationalism to sweep over the US and Europe? I took a closer look, more specifically at American society, and realized how politicized it has become. It seems like almost everyone is viewed through a political lens. If you have a political ideology that differs than someone else, then it's perceived that you're an inherently bad person, or that you can't be friends with that person, you can't get along with that person, you can't collaborate. And quite frankly, I would like to challenge that stigma. I would like to challenge that through talking, and more importantly, listening to those who have differing opinions from your own, you can learn quite a bit, and that can really further the efficiency of our political system. I did this through traveling to the office of the governor. This past semester, I was the legislative affairs and policy intern for Governor Scott Walker. Yes, the conservative governor, as I'm sure many of you dearly love, and me, admittedly, as a moderate Democrat, taking a place by his side for this last semester to gain a little insight. Now, what were my motivations behind taking this internship position? Certainly, it wasn't monetary gain. Referencing the article, Presidential Candidates Ignore the Costs of Unpaid Internships by Greer and Grinnell. I chuckled at that article because it is so very true. Pretty much any political internship in the public sector that exists is going to be unpaid, and this internship was no exception. Additionally, the article, Students Are Already Workers, Mark Bousquet talks about the exploitation of college students who are striving to get professional experience supplemental to their academic work, are often exploited at very, very low wages or no wages at all in the context of an internship under the guise of professional experience or exposure to a prominent political candidate, such as Governor Walker. However, a solution that these articles provide is meaningful experience in the context of an unpaid internship. And I think that was something that was largely for me met in the context of this internship as a legislative affairs and policy intern with the Office of the Governor. I got to collaborate with senators, with state representatives, with policy experts in the Office of the Governor itself to work on policy that's currently being proposed and pushed through the legislature of Wisconsin that has a genuine impact on not only state, but even federal policy. I thought that was pretty cool. But on a more personal note, what were my motivations? And that's really tied to what I was talking about initially. It's trying to overcome this bipartisan divide that I think is becoming increasingly prevalent in the United States. See, as I said, I'm a moderate Democrat, and I was amongst many conservatives at the Office of the Governor. I was a stranger in my own land, so to speak. At this point, I'd like to draw a parallel to Arlie Hochschild's book, Strangers in Their Own Land, in which she took a similar route. As a liberal sociologist from the extraordinarily liberal UC Berkeley, she traveled down to the deep bayous of Louisiana to a community called Bayou Dems, which voted almost exclusively for Donald Trump in the previous presidential election. And she, like me, wanted to garner some insight into the motivations, personal, economic, fiscal, social, as to why individuals felt that Donald Trump was the candidate that most directly represented them in the presidential election against Hillary Clinton. And what Hochschild found was really interesting in what she labeled the deep story. Now, there were three elements of this deep story that she talked about, and I'd like to list those off now. The individuals of this community, Bayou Dems in Louisiana, felt that since 1980, they felt disenfranchised economically, many of them losing their jobs or their training quickly becoming irrelevant, and they saw the solution of populist wealth redistribution in an increasingly globalized world. Second, they all felt culturally marginalized. for their views on social issues such as abortion, gay marriage, guns, religion, etc. Many of the controversial issues that we know today in politics. And third, they felt that they were part of a demographic in decline as white Christians. They felt suppressed, they felt ostracized by the liberal media, by the liberal Obama administration, and over the increasingly large federal bureaucracy with the hands of organizations such as the Environmental Protection Agency that were overreaching into their community, outsourcing jobs, and suppressing their rights as Americans. Interestingly enough, this is a pretty stark contrast to what I found at the office of the governor. Many of the issues that the individuals of Bayou Dend expressed were very personal, were very emotional, were very impulsive. But when I talked with some of the fellow interns at the office of the governor, I found that they were largely economic, they were largely fiscal, they were supporters of neoclassical economics, very anti-Keynesian Austrian school, and that they sought many of the same goals that I did. I'd like to reference the article Only Connect by William Cronin at this time. And I think, since we're all students at a liberal institution, a liberal arts institution, this really helped in the grand scheme of things. Since we were all liberal arts students, as Cronin said, this helps with empathy. This helps with understanding differences in opinion. And that even though I was a moderate Democrat, and even though they were all largely conservatives, we were able to find some common ground on issues such as reducing the prison population, clean air and water, and getting dark money out of politics. Through this collaboration that I was able to have with these interns, and that Hochschild was able to have with the individuals in the community of Bayou Dend down in Louisiana, there was some common ground to be had. And there was an understanding that we are shaped from a political standpoint by our diverse backgrounds. And that does make us inherently different. But if you can talk, and if you have a willingness to collaborate with other individuals who have different political ideologies than you do, there's a lot of potential there. And I encourage all my friends, both conservative and liberal, to embrace what Hochschild calls breaking down empathy walls, and understanding that just because someone has a different political affiliation than you, they may have similar interests. Getting there just might be a little different. And the only way to get there and to obtain genuine progress in our bipartisan political system and to ensure a more prosperous future for our nation is to listen. I encourage you to think about that. Thank you.